Good evening. I do hope you're well. Excited to be Tuesday night again and here chatting with you. And I hope you're staying warm and toasty. It is a little bit cool tonight. Say g'day in the chat box as you come on board. Let me know you're here. And we're talking about one of my favorite subjects, of course, increasing your intuition or developing those intuitive muscles and 5 ways in which we can do that. So we're going to maybe start off with going all the way back to basics. And I think that's very important when we're looking at just strengthening and developing those muscles and that intuition, especially if you haven't worked with those before or it's been a little while and they've kind of been sitting on the shelf. Hello, Jamie Lee. How are you? Good to see you. Hope you're staying nice and warm. So looking at 5 ways that we can do this. And if we looked at chakras first, and that's a whole other subject and a whole other night, or a workshop that I do have coming up, that's coming up actually in a couple of weeks' time on the 25th of June. It's a Saturday, 9 a.m. till 12 p.m. just locally here at Strathpine. You can message me for all the details. It's $85 and you get all of the crystals, you get a necklace to wear them, and you get the workbook. So let me know if you'd love to come along. It is my favorite workshop to teach. I shouldn't have favorites, but it certainly is. Oh, good. Seeing everybody coming on board. Hello, Charlotte and Belinda. Good to see you too. So let's start talking about ways that we can develop our intuition. And like I just mentioned, I think going back to basics is very important. Hi, Jane. We need to think about when we're using our intuition, different messages and different things are coming in. So whether we're using numbers or we're using signs or we're using, our clairvoyance or our clairsentience, it's all about, I think, getting in touch with your physical senses first. How often do you stop and actually feel something? Do you sit outside and go, okay, I can feel the warmth of the sun. I can hear the birds. When you're eating your lunch, do you taste the food? Because quite often our intuition comes through in visions or smells or tastes or feelings. And if you're not connected with those, if you don't know what that feels like, or you just don't remember what that feels like, it's a really good way to just get back in connection with you. Because that's the machine you're working with. That's the engine, that you're trying to drive. So how do all those things... Oh, hi, Tamika. I look forward to Tuesday nights too. I'm so glad everybody comes along and we can all have a chat about these things and get motivated again to get back into our spirituality. So get back in touch with yourself first. There are some fantastic meditations you can have a look at on Google, sensory ones where, you'll go through the meditation and you're biting into a lemon, or you're on the roller coaster, or you're smelling, baking bread that's not actually there, because you need to develop what it feels like. If you're doing, a reading for someone, or you're getting a message for someone, or even if it's just for yourself, how do you know what it is if you're not sure what it feels like and what you're connected to? So they're really good things to have a look at. Just being a little bit more present in yourself. Really hard to do at the moment. Everyone is just, going through incredibly hard times, some good times as well, but it is a bit of a roller coaster still. So we get a bit out of touch with being in today and in the moment. And when you are using your intuition, you actually have to be in the moment to do that and be able to focus on those things. So getting grounded again, making sure that you're protecting your energies, which you'll always hear me speak about because it's really, really important. Hi, Jackie. Hi, Jen, Sharon, Tamika, Miss Katie. How are you? Tian. Oh, I love seeing all these regular names come up. So that, I think, is the most important thing, is you have to know how you feel first. And then you can distinguish whether it's your intuition speaking or if it's just how you're feeling. There's a difference between, I'm just having a crap day because I just feel crap, and that being your intuition telling you you're having a crap day. So being in touch with how you feel and being able to maybe detach from that a little bit. Most people get deja vus, okay, or we're dreaming, or we get flashes of little just snippets of what maybe's coming, or we get that gut instinct that comes through, and it's never really a long kind of experience. It's normally quite quick, sometimes even just seconds that you get that feeling or that instinct kicks in and you're like, oh, hang on a second. So being able to capture those moments is quite important, because sometimes they just come and go and you're like, oh, I wish I'd caught that. So when you're maybe you're doing something and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I've got, I need to tell my friend they should be cautious about that. But instead of capturing and holding on to it and then sort of going, well, what is it about that makes me feel uneasy? What part of their life do I feel like I'm drawn to? So that's something there too, just practicing holding on to the moment. I know when I'm doing a reading, quite often I have to hold on to the moment and then I have to explore it. You know, you all know with my intuition, a lot of the time now I'm looking at it outside of my third eye. So it's kind of in front of me, a bit like a hologram. So I'll see that first flash of something and then I'm like, hang on, pause. Now I want to go into it. Now I want to kind of, how do I feel? What does it show me? Who is involved? And I literally ask questions. I think you need to get to know your intuition. It is your intuition, and create that language with your intuition that it can speak to you in quick ways. Sometimes it's just numbers, it's signs, it's number plates, it's street signs, it's the front page of the paper. And then other times when we get a feeling and it kind of builds and then we're thinking about it and you're like, oh, my intuition's trying to tell me something. So trying to be able to sit comfortably in that, I think, is very important. And being able to trust it. It is the only thing in all of the workshops that I teach that I can't teach you. I can't give you that gift of trusting your intuition. It's very, very hard to do. And it comes from time and it comes from practice and it comes from validation. And that kind of leads me to another one of my points here about increasing our intuition. A journal or just in your notes in your phone or being able to write things down somewhere where you can go back and go, that's right. I got that right, or I was feeling that on that day. Or I just knew I was going to see those numbers or how that was going to play out. Keeping a record of it is just a really good way of getting validation, because the more you start to see that you're getting it right, the more you're going to trust it. And trusting it is that hardest thing, I think. It's the biggest obstacle to get through when it comes to working with your intuition, especially if you're looking at, doing something with somebody else and you're sitting with a friend and you're turning some cards or, doing some psychometry or something like that. Remembering it's never your message when it's for somebody else. You don't need to understand it. It doesn't need to make sense for you. You just need to be able to get it from what you're seeing or you're hearing or you're smelling, or that gut instinct into words so that we can communicate it. And that takes time as well. One of the things I had to learn to be able to do being a reader was to be able to describe things really well, because they're trying to work out what I'm talking about in that situation. So, if I'm talking about a car or I'm talking about a place or I'm talking about a workplace, I may not have ever been in that workplace or have knowledge of that kind of work, but I can sort of say, okay, I can see this as like a team of 5 and the work environment looks like there's a lot of desks and there's dividers and there's a view from the window and I can see a river. I have to be able to describe that because I may not have a business name at that point, but I'm going through. And that's me almost looking around in that vision. And that's where I have to capture the moment and just go a little deeper into it. Another really good exercise to be able to develop that intuition is remote viewing. I love doing this. It's so much fun because there's no pressure with it. Oh, that's a really good point, Jane. It's very difficult sometimes to separate when we're an empath what we're picking up on what someone's feeling, because I think that's very different to working with our intuition. And then how we also protect and ground ourselves between that. And that again is that working with the two and sort of going, okay, when is it my intuition? Or, is this just because this person that I'm working with or I'm sitting with or I'm holding space with has these things going on in their world? And that kind of comes back to that first point where I go, you really have to get comfortable in knowing how you feel. We talked about it in the other show that I did about, being an empath, working out when it's your feelings, when it's someone else's feelings, and then working out when it's your intuition, and then again working out when it's your gut instinct. It can sound quite complicated, but it really is, just learning to know which voice we're listening to or feeling that we're listening to at that point. But that's a really good question. A lot of people get stuck with it, being able to figure out whether it's, the empath coming out in them or their intuition or their psychic development or their clairvoyance are coming through. So remote viewing is a fun exercise that you can do, because remember, developing these things and developing our intuition should be fun and we should be enjoying it. It's not about all this hard work and, busting your third eye because you're trying so hard. I often use this as an example. If someone decides to become a marathon runner, they don't put their shoes on and go for a marathon the next day. They train and they build up those muscles. So being able to look further into your intuition is going to take a little bit of time and a little bit of training. Katie, I like this. How is gut instinct? Mercury retrograde's finished. I should be doing a little better with my words. And exhale. Mercury retrograde has finished for a little while. Sorry, Katie. So your question was, how is gut instinct different to intuition? So in my opinion, and I think apparently once I say that, I can say whatever I want. Not that I'd stop anyway. I feel like gut instinct keeps me safe. Okay, that's my fight or flight instinct. When I first walk into a room, if I'm just like, oh, something's uncomfortable here, I don't feel right. Okay, that's my intuition protecting me. Also, if you're an empath, you're feeling the emotion in the room. I'm not seeing things coming in. I'm not seeing, I'm not trying to read something. That's an instant. What is my gut saying to me? It's saying, no, don't do it, or don't go down that alleyway, or trust that person. They feel good, and someone's coming into your home, whether it be a tradesman or a friend, or a new friend. When you first meet them, I think gut instinct is that signal for us on, do we move forward? Can I trust this? And that's very instant in the moment. Intuition for me is something that normally it's talking about, obviously, things that haven't happened yet in the very near future, in that day, maybe even. But intuition tends to come with a knowing and a little bit more time in that knowing. As for me, gut instinct, very instant. But gut instinct being an interesting thing too, I think that's something that we need to learn to figure out, because it works in different ways. We get butterflies in our stomach, when we're nervous and excited, but I also get butterflies in my stomach when I should run away and it's really scary and I shouldn't be there. So it was kind of working out that sometimes what we think is butterflies in our stomach because we're nervous, which is very natural, may also be something that we need to acknowledge, that maybe there's a warning there. I hope that answers your question, Katie. Okay, Tamika. Okay, so days. That's interesting question when we keep hearing things, and like you said, you keep getting this drop in. Whenever I'm getting something like that that's repetitive, again, then I go to, so my intuition saying, there's a kind of this message here. What is it relevant to you? Okay, are you being dropped in it? Is it, is that kind of how you're feeling with it? Or is this, I just need to touch base? Or they're asking, maybe you're picking up on something that they're sending us. That's something very real in life. How often have you thought of someone that you haven't seen in 20 years and then all of a sudden, you see them the next day? So there's that thing too where I go, it's about your intuition. I think they may be asking you, hey, could you drop in? Can you make contact? Or maybe them actually calling out to you. Oh, thank you, Katie. I hope that was helpful. And Tamika, I hope that was kind of helpful too, that drop in. Again, when it comes to intuition, it's like, what is the interpretation for you? Which can be quite confusing, because if you haven't had that message before, what is it? And so I think with this, but even just kind of reading it and just kind of getting my head around it a little bit there, I think maybe just we need to check in. But that doesn't mean we have to necessarily rock up, maybe just a call or a text. But I'm glad that you're listening to it. See, that's the first step too, listening to it. Most people have great intuition. They just spend all day going, nope, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Or we only want to hear the good things or see the good things. Or when our intuition's going, hey, I'm going to go into this relationship, but I just feel like it's not going to last very long, but I need to go through this. We quite often ignore that, or we just kind of go, no, and start planning the next 20 years, even though we just know something's going to change there. And of course, we don't want to hear that when we're going into a relationship and we're falling in love. We don't want to hear that intuition that's kind of going, be cautious. But I can tell you what, and just because I am a woman as well, a woman's intuition, it certainly knows something sometimes, most definitely. So back to my remote viewing exercise. Here I was worried I wouldn't have enough to talk about tonight. I think that is impossible. Remote viewing is a fun exercise that we can do when we want to develop that intuition. So if you're going somewhere for the first time, somewhere you haven't been, or you're meeting someone for the first time that you haven't physically seen, before you go and do that, take a moment to say, okay, what does it look like? So maybe you're going to someone's house for the first time and you've never been there before. What's the front door going to look like? Or is it a particular color? Are you going to be going out and sitting out in an outdoor area? What is something significant that you can see there? And without controlling it, let it come in. Yeah, Belinda, you got to trust it. It's a knowing. It's a deep knowing. So with this remote viewing, it's a fun exercise to do because no one has to know about it other than you. It doesn't matter that you get it wrong. What matters is that you're working that muscle. And also, sometimes the best way to go into it is be like, okay, I am the world's best psychic. I am amazing and I can see. Like, go in with this huge confidence. And you might be surprised what you get right when you actually take the pressure off. That's the hardest thing, is taking the pressure off ourselves. A lot of people start working with their intuition and think they've got to get it 100% right every single time. And I'm like, that's not the case at all. So remote viewing is a fun way. Also, I play with a couple of cool little apps, free apps that I have on my phone for like ESP and things like that, where you're kind of picking, where the picture's going to be next. And I enjoy those games there as well. And, we all like time wasters, and that's one that I particularly enjoy. Meditating. Oh, look, I'm a little bit two-sided on this one, because meditation, very important and needed. Great for our mental health, great for grounding, great for protection, great for centering, great for getting in touch with our intuition. But that doesn't mean that if you can't meditate that you can't be intuitive or that you can't work on those muscles. Like I've mentioned before, for me, meditation quite often is, going for that drive or working in the garden or doing something else consciously. And that subconscious mind can kind of just let itself in. Same thing, but meditation, very good, because you have to be able to, if you're looking at getting messages, whether it's for yourself or someone else, or building that intuition, you really need to be able to just clear the mind. I kind of have a screen that I go to that is not connected to my life at all. It's not connected to where I am and what I'm doing. It's somewhere else. And I kind of go, okay, that's completely disconnected to me. That's my intuition. I don't control what comes in there. So it's about having a look at just what we can see, analyzing it, taking that moment as well. Remember, because they come through so quickly, grabbing hold of it and going, right, what is it? And can I delve into it? It's a bit like if there was a picture on the wall. There's a Stephen King book that I read. I think it's called Rose Matter. It's an excellent book. But during the book at night, she lies in bed and she can go into the picture on the wall and explore this other world. And that's literally sometimes what intuition's like. It's like allowing yourself to go into a place that you don't control and you let it show you what's going on. Working with cards, absolutely. Look, I've done more than 5 already. Working with cards is a great way to start working with that intuition. All decks of cards, have 50 to 70, if not more, cards involved. So you're not going to pick them up the first time and suddenly know every single card. But if I know with intuition, and like you all know, I've worked with these cards for, 15 odd years. This I use very intuitively, because I may get the balance card, okay, but balance where? In what part of the life? In what situation? And that's where my intuition kicks in. So because cards, as we know, it's not just, this card doesn't tell you balance with work. It doesn't tell you balance with love. It just tells you balance, tells you're going to rise above it. It's a really good card, and I'm glad I just turned it as an example. But working with cards, getting familiar with them, really good way, especially if you're asking questions for yourself. And if you're capable of doing, I'm going to choose 3 cards for myself, and that's what I'm going to take, and that's what I'm going to read, and that's what I'm going to interpret, that's great. If you're going to turn 3 and you don't get quite what you want, and then you're turning 5, you're turning 7, you're turning 9, that's not a good idea, because then you're just searching for the answer, and that's where it's not your intuition. If you're like, well, until I get that answer, it's not right, then that's desire, that's want, that's separate to intuition, if that makes sense. So developing it and that way. Psychometry. Oh, I do miss doing it in the groups. Obviously, I get to do it with reading sometimes and in the workshops now. But psychometry is a fantastic way to develop your intuition. I think it's almost one of the easiest ways. That's working with a personal item and reading the energy on it. You tend to make a quicker connection with the person that you're giving the message to, or the item that you're reading. Metal items work better, but anything you can do that with. Just because if we hold something and we carry it around with us, whether it's our phone, our pen, and we're carrying it around in our energy, we leave a bit of an imprint. Jewelry is fantastic. It's often worn for long periods of time, and anything metal tends to hold energy a lot more. So if somebody gives you a ring, it's about going, okay, I'm going to clear, I'm going to clear that mind. Oh yeah, and the flower readings. They were so much fun. We'll talk about that one night. We could do flowers. That would be interesting. So clearing your mind and sort of going, okay, letting my world go, and don't worry, it'll be there when you get back, letting it go and going, what am I getting? What is this making me feel? And you might be drawn to the physical body. You may be like, oh, okay, I'm just drawn down to my knee for some reason, or I'm feeling really anxious, or I'm feeling really happy, or you're seeing something, it might be purple tree and you're like, well, I can't say that because it makes no sense. But the person that you're reading for, that's their work logo. So that's where you'll find doing psychometry quite often brings in a lot of feeling. But that can be a t-shirt. You'll often see in some of the missing people shows where they have psychics come in, they give them a t-shirt or a shoe or an article from that person, or take them into their bedroom, really being able to feel that energy and that imprint, and being able to read that. So really good way of doing that too is if you're a bit like me and you love the thrift shops and the markets, and you come across something that you adore and you can't help but taking home, that's a really good way too of just kind of sitting with it. What does it tell you? What's the history behind it? And then maybe looking it up and kind of going, wow, I kind of got the era right, or I got the year right, or I got where it came from right. So that's fun to do. It is a little bit hard though, just asking randoms to hand you their jewelry. So, if you can do this with people that are understanding that this is just something that you're doing to develop. But for me, psychometry was a big sort of turning point with my intuition. It really helped strengthen things. And now obviously at a point where I don't need to do the psychometry, but it's still enjoyable to do. So try giving that a crack. I think that's important. And try not to miss anybody's questions tonight. Yeah, flower reading's very interesting. Working with that as well. I think we did leaf readings one night as well. Things that are instantly touched, only held for a small period of time and then handed over for psychometry, or even things that are being, you're drawn to a certain flower, you choose that flower and then you give it to somebody to read it. What are they getting from the flower? How do they interpret it? Whether it be the color, the feel, how that person's feeling. Because I guess when we're reading someone face to face and not using anything but our intuition, we're kind of doing the same thing on a bigger level to psychometry. Instead of just reading the item, we're now reading the person. How do you make me feel? Body scan. How is their body going? How are they feeling about life or work or what's going on around them? Dreams. So important, because if you're naturally, you're the empath and you're very intuitive, or spirit tries to connect with you, or you work with spirit and you're ignoring it during the day, you're going, no, I don't want to see it. I don't want to know, and it's throwing messages at you thick and fast. And then you go to bed at night, and I believe, you're a bit of a lighthouse. So at that point when you're sort of going to sleep, they're like, oh, finally, she can't ignore me. They can't ignore me. We're going to send in some messages. We're going to visit. We're going to wake her up. We're going to do all those things because they have, I guess spirit, or even our intuition has a little bit more control over whether or not we ignore it. But dreams are very interesting because, like I've said, it's not necessarily that first dream of the night that you're having. It's normally the second dream that you have. That first dream is just sorting out your day, and your second one being more of that premonition. And of course, around 3 o'clock, that witching hour, which we all love. So how is all that going? Do we have any questions about intuition? Crystals, amethyst, okay? Those beautiful purple crystals, fantastic for our third eye, our intuition, good for healing too. We know if we're trying to use our third eye, we're trying to develop our intuition, we really need to go down and have a look at those lower chakras and what's going on, because the energy is coming from the ground up. It's like water. It's coming up, through your chakras. So if we've got a blockage here in the solar plexus and a blockage in the heart and a blockage, in the throat, by the time that energy is getting to the third eye, it's quite thin. and we're not really able to get good energy there. So it's not able to open and function and do what we need it to do. So sometimes when people say to me, oh, my intuition's off, or I'm not getting any premonitions, or I'm not really dreaming, I'm just going to work on my third eye. I'm like, oh, you might want to check out some of those lower chakras first and make sure the energy is getting there to be able to do its job. Amethyst is fantastic, like I mentioned, for psychic abilities and intuition, for healing. It's good for meditation. It's good for sleep. It's good for dream work. It's one of my all-rounders. It's one of my top 5 that you should have if you want to put a little bit of a crystal emergency pack together. Amethyst would be one of them, and obviously clear quartz, rose quartz. I would be looking at some lapis and even some citrine, hematites, and maybe I need a little bit more than 5. But definitely if you have amethyst, and again, it doesn't matter the size of the crystal. In this matter, it really doesn't. Whether it's just a tumbled piece of amethyst or a great big geode, it's going to do exactly the same thing. We have the same vibration there. Now, we're going to start turning some cards shortly, which I'm looking forward to as always. So if you'd like a card, please let me know, and I will add you to the list while I answer some questions here. Katie, I've started dreaming more lately. You're sleeping with a toy rat. Well, at least it's a toy rat, and it's wondering about what the energies from that's bringing. Does it make you feel really comfortable? Are you more relaxed? It's people sleep with a lot of different things, and that's, trust me, not the oddest one I've heard. And for that, it's about also, are you in a different place? Are you being more open to it as well? We did just have that Mercury retrograde, and I'm pretty sure it was a new moon last night. So planting all those seeds, but definitely coming at that Mercury retrograde, because dreams are a bit hectic. But dreaming's great. You should get the journal out, Katie, and write them down. I know your intuition's great. What's the best way to, okay, so Tamika, what is the best way to ask for info, clarification, or guidance to be brought to us with our dreams? Archangel Michael is fantastic to work with because he's very good as a bit of a gatekeeper. So you can sort of say to him, okay, keep the bad dreams away or the unnecessary dreams. Can you just bring me in the good dreams or the intuition? Asking for that before you go to sleep. Being aware of your dreaming. So starting to be more conscious of, okay, I remember my first dream. Okay, that was me, walking through the shopping center naked, feeling vulnerable because that's the kind of day you had. But my second dream was more about, okay, getting in touch with my intuition. Also, another interesting topic for another night is astral travel and talking about where we go with that. You can actually use an amethyst and program it to bring you more intuitive dreams or bring you more premonitions, and ask the amethyst to do that. Because, of course, when we have our crystals, we need to program them. We need to let them know what we'd like them to do. So some people might use an amethyst for less dreams and more deep sleep, but you can still use that amethyst for more dreams and more psychic dreams. And if you add a clear quartz to that, that's almost like giving it a little bit of a power pack, and that's going to push it a little bit further. Important things like, what are you eating or drinking before you go to bed can very much affect our dreams. If we're having a couple of glasses of wine, sometimes we won't dream or remember our dreams. If you partake in any kind of herb, that's going to stop you dreaming as well. Medications can do that. Stress and anxiety can do that. That can stop our dreaming. So don't be too hard on yourself if it takes a little while to get going. Yes, thank you everyone for asking for a card. Your name is going on the list. Hope that was helpful, Tamika. James, good evening. How are you? Yeah, it would be good to get my keys. You can do it. You can. It's just trusting it again. But stress does things to us, and life has done things to us. And sometimes, when the heart chakra is not right and those lower chakras aren't right, then this one's not going to be working. And when we have responsibility sometimes, but it's a muscle, you got to start working with it again, even if it's just small things, and every day, and start building it up again. But James, I know that you're intuitive and you can read. We know you're a healer, so you could definitely work with all of that. But it's almost like I said, going, okay, I'm going to run a marathon. I'm going to go and take my first marathon tomorrow. It's hard to do that. We need to train and get back into it. But it was always fun. Our groups. You can have a card. Yes, James. Good. Yes. Katie, you're always good with your dreaming, but you're good with words, Katie. So I think it would be an interesting journal to have a look at. Belinda, astral travel and vivid dreams. So lucid dreaming is a little bit to just having a dream, like I said, that's kind of floating through and we're dealing with our daily life. Lucid dreaming, when I'm lucid dreaming, I am aware that I am dreaming. I know that I'm in my dream. I can see color. I can feel heat. I can feel cold. I can actually see my hands. I can, because one of my recurring dreams is not being able to get my phone to work. Lucid dreaming for me is when I'm aware that I'm in my dream. And that's usually when we know with lucid dreaming, and that's when we can remember, or even we're aware we're in our dream and also kind of make some choices within that dream and where we're going with it. Astral travel, talking about leaving the body. Again, I think that's a topic that we'll definitely cover in the next couple of weeks. So we have a look at how we can astral travel, what that is, and the different theories behind it, because it is one of those things where there's a lot of apparent rules of the do's and don'ts, which I'm going to tell you you don't need to worry about. But yes, lucid dreams, you should write those down. Okay, I'm going to start turning some cards so we can fit everybody in tonight. And then if you still have questions or things that you'd like to add, and also askravencooper@gmail.com. If you have a topic you would like me to cover, if you have a metaphysical question, or maybe you'd like to know how to have more confidence or dreaming or anything like that, please flip me an email. Happy to have a look at those questions and and answer them on a Tuesday night. Look, Mercury retrograde's out of the way now, so we should be doing a little bit better, right? Right, our cards should all start to behave again now. Our phones, people should stop cancelling and changing appointments. Okay, we've got quite a list of people here for cards, so I'm going to try and get everyone their card tonight. And quite often when you're hearing the messages for other people, they may relate to you. I do find that happens quite often. All right, let's have a look. Our first one tonight is for Jen Cat 78. One of my people on, what's it called? I can't remember. Twitch. No. Yes? Is that what it's called? Obviously, social media, not my strong point. All right, Jen, let's have a look. I'm just going to be turning one card tonight. And as always, I just lay them out in front of me and have a look. Oh, I'm going to go this one for you. Do love this card. This is my Triumph card, and it says here, you've had to be a one-woman army. You've had to go through a battle, and it's been huge, and but even Braveheart went home at the end of the day and had some dinner and a bit of a lie down. And it's just saying here that even though you have been that warrior, you have been that person to go to battle, that one-person army and come through triumphant, sometimes we get through the other side on our horse, and then we're like, okay, there's got to be another big battle, right? Everything I do has got to be hard because I'm always having to be that army. Here, you're able to say, no, it's time to get off the horse a little bit. You have been triumphant. So a good time to kind of heal, look after yourself, and also know that it doesn't always have to be a battle, and we don't always have to be going to war. Sometimes big things are coming in and big changes are going to happen, but that doesn't mean it could be a war. Maybe it's going to be a party. Maybe it's going to be some fun. Oh, looking forward to your dreaming tonight. Well, that's so good, Jane. Enjoy that. I hope you have great dreams. All right, coming up next, Lavina. Oh, I just spread the cards out across my table, and one literally is just sticking out here, so I'm not even going to bother. That one's going to let me know exactly what it is that we need to have a look at. Oh, no wonder it jumped out, Lavina. This is my Devil card. This is my Temptation card here. And this is all about you dancing with your devils a little bit at the moment. I'm not going to tell you about, more trauma coming in or bad things happening. This is about are you thinking about returning to something? Is your anxiety getting the better of you? What's your devil on your shoulder? For me, it's quite often my anxiety or my worry that's stopping me from moving forward. So at the moment, maybe there's something here that it's time to step away from, but he's very tempted to go back here. It's a bit like, ooh, especially with that Mercury retrograde, if something's come back from the past, or maybe a person's come back from the past, and you're kind of like, wouldn't mind dancing with the devil, never usually ends well. And just it's saying here, don't give in to old temptations or go back to old ways. It's time to really move forward, but that will be difficult because you will have that devil on your shoulder at the moment. But what's good about this card, it's not bringing in more trauma. It's not like, oh my God, you're going to have big troubles coming. It's kind of going, right now, just be careful of giving in to temptation. Oh, come on, we've all given in to temptation, right? I do hope that was helpful, Lavina. All right, James, here's some trouble. I do hope things are going well, James. Let's have a look. I'm going to go up here. You know, it was so funny then. I thought I was going to pick up a card with a dragonfly on. There's no dragonflies on any of my cards. So I know what that is, James. Maybe you're going to see one. Oh, James. Material. Here we go. Financial and material changes. Okay, red, home, work, money, security. Really got to get this sorted out. This card tells me here that we may have just had a new opportunity come in, or something's coming in here, and it's time to really just niche that plan right now. It's like, you know, it's like, okay, needed this, got it, but now what am I going to do with it? How am I going to move forward with it? Getting a plan in life here as well, some direction, maybe even looking at a bit of a, okay, what's my 5-year plan, or even what's my 12-month plan? Where do I want to be from here? But really sorting everything out. You're like, that's it. I've had enough. I'm sorting the whole lot out. Home, work, money, relationships, here, dreams. So some changes coming in, quite positive if we can stick to the plan and we can stay on track. So a good card, but is probably going to take a little bit of self-discipline, which kind of sucks, right? Because nobody want to do that. But a good card because we have got those changes in the finances and in the material things coming through, but we are going to have to maybe just stick to the plan for a little while to feel a little bit more secure in it. Okay. Jackie. Oh, Jackie, thanks for following me on YouTube tonight too. I did see that come up. Of course, you can also watch me live on YouTube at Raven Cooper 333. You're very welcome, Jane. Yeah, Lavina, anxiety. Look, it just gets to me so often. That's why I have my alter ego and I love it. And just that... what's stopping me? Why am I worried about what everyone will think? Why am I worried about, you know, if I upset one person or I don't get it perfect, why am I worried about it? Or why do I think I can do this? Like I have all of those things going on. What does that person think of me? Have I buggered it up? You know, lying in bed thinking of that one sentence you said at 9 a.m. in the morning that no one else on the planet can remember but you, and it rattling through your head. I think sometimes we all have to be really cautious of that we pinpoint this moment, especially with anxiety, especially at night, you know. My panic monster, my anxiety, it's nocturnal, man. It only likes to come out at night. And so being able to deal with that and go, hang on a second, that person's not looking at it a million times or under a microscope like you may be. Sorry, Jackie, back to you. Good to see you, darling. Well, let's have a look. Oh, I think I'm going to like this card. I think it's going to be good. Let's have a look. Oh, now... don't panic when you see it. Got panic on the dance floor. This one here, heartache and loss. Now, hold on, hang on, breathe. This one here is saying we got to let go of all the heartache and loss now. This cocoon that we've been in, where we've kind of been hibernating and just been healing and dealing with things and processing stuff. She's going to let that go, and she's going to let it go from her sacral chakra. Okay, and it's going to set her free. It's going to set her out of this cocoon. And number 3, it's going to bring in new things. So this heartache and loss is not about it coming in. It's actually about letting it go and being able to speak our truth. Okay, so with this card, it's going, right, I'm going to let it go, but it's her sacral chakra. She's got to let go of her heartache and loss so that she can bring in that balance with the sacral. So it's all about our creativity and our passions and our fires in our belly and our sexuality. It's about all of that coming back to life. But to do that, we've got to let go of the hurt first. A lovely card because it means that we're moving forward and we're actually, getting through the process and getting to the other side. And of course, she's going to come out of this cocoon a butterfly, but even butterflies need to learn to fly as well, because they were once caterpillars. But a really good card because we're releasing now, and that's going to set you free. Nice, Jackie. I like it. Well done. Sharon, your turn. Sharon Smith. Oh, this is going to be better this week, Sharon. I think this is going to be a good card. What do you reckon? We're going to find out. We're going to have a look. Oh, I'm going to go down this side. A lot of green around you today, Sharon. Oh, I like this. A lot of red cards tonight. Everyone must be stressing about home, work, money, security. I guess we all are. Everything's getting more and more expensive, and the cost of living going through the roof. But this one here, positive movement forward. So maybe some good news at work or at home or with finances or with our plan for our next security or where we're going. It says here for a little while, just a boat on the water, just kind of going with things, kind of going with the flow. But here we are putting our sail up and we are moving forward. It's like, no, I'm getting a plan. Here we go. We're going towards the sun. Okay, I kind of, I'm not religious, but I kind of like that saying, you're either running towards God or away from him. It's like you're going to sail towards the sun or away from it. You're going to go towards the light and feeling a little bit more like we're getting control of this situation and having a little bit more choice when it comes to the money and where we're going next. So a good card. It says that we've got some positive movement forward. Good for the home. Good for money. Good for stability, all those things that make us feel secure in the physical world. Belinda. Did you get your crystals out of your bag, Belinda? We were talking about those last week. Give them a cleanse. Start working with them. Thanks, James. Learn to listen. I haven't done that yet, so don't worry about it. It's like how hard's the universe got to kick my ass to get me to shift seems to be just my life pattern with everything. So don't worry. I'm a constant work in progress just like everybody else. I think we all need to do that. Oh, good. Well done, Belinda. Proud of you. Got to work with our crystals. That's what they're there for. That's why nature brought them for us. All right. Who was I doing then? Belinda. Like this. Yeah, we're going to go up here, Belinda. We're going to check this one out. I like this. I like it because it's green. But this is fulfillment of wishes. This is 9. Things need to wrap up. This is a 9. This is a completion number. But for fulfillment of wishes. So what that's saying right now is whatever you're asking the universe for, sometimes that's a material thing. Maybe that's something that we need to bring into our life. Sometimes we're asking the universe, for security, for love, for confidence. Maybe sometimes we're asking the universe about a health issue. We're asking for that. We're wishing for, which I don't really like the word wish because sometimes that means we don't believe we actually deserve it because we're wishing for it because we don't believe we can actually do it. This is more about intent or manifestation. And it's saying here that you're going to be rewarded here for the things that you're asking for. Like I said before, it doesn't have to be material. It could be for courage. It could be for healing. But a good time to be asking the universe, especially with that new moon that we just had last night, I think. Good time to plant those seeds and be able to start growing in maybe a new direction or something for yourself, something that you need for that heart chakra and that love. Tamika, let's have a look. Oh, a card jumped out. Should I pay attention to it? We'll be sneaky and we'll have a quick look at 2. This is the power card. And so I'm going to remember this to see how it relates to the next card that's going to come out. And I'm going to choose for you. Oh, you're very welcome. Oh, good to hear, Sharon. Good to hear. Things are moving forward. We all had to sit still there for a while, didn't we? And things are slowly creeping back in again. All right. Tamika. Oh. Down this way. All these bloody red cards tonight. Tamika, it's time to make a really good investment. Okay, you're going to plant a really good seed. So maybe sometimes, we invest in study and then that grows us a tree that brings us fruit for the rest of our lives. But what this is going to come down to is where you are making this investment. Worst house, best street is a good investment because it's about the soil that you're planting. So if you're looking at studying something, am I going to love this for long enough for it to be able to grow and bring me more things? It could be an opportunity. It could be a work opportunity. And maybe it's kind of like, it's not the position I want, but it's in the company that I want to work for, or it's at the place that I want to work for. And then I can grow from there. So right now it's about making sure, if we want to have a good tree, if we want to have good fruit, then we got to choose good soil. We got to create good soil for that to grow. But whatever you're investing in right now, whether it's your time or it's money, or it's even love, prosperity is going to begin. It's going to bring you more fruit, but it will bring you more direction as well. Or should I say new direction? It's the number one here. But yeah, think about this. This is a good opportunity. You might, like I said, we might be just starting in the dirt, but is it going to grow you something good from it? Absolutely. Good card. What's with all the red cards tonight? What are we all doing with them? Oh, they're jumping. They're jumping around. Going to plug my workshop again for Saturday, the 25th of June from 9 a.m. till 12 p.m. It is my Chakra workshop. It is my favorite workshop to teach. I thoroughly enjoy it. You're going to walk out feeling better than you did when you walk in. You get your crystals to take home, your necklace, you get your workbook. You're going to figure out your blockages. You're going to figure out why you make decisions the way that you do. You're going to look at how you can change those patterns, how you can balance those chakras, and all the different ways that you can do it. So you can get in contact with me. All of my details you will find on the Threefold Facebook page, or you will also find my details on YouTube there with my phone number. You can just text me, even if it's just the word workshop, or I'd love to come to your chakra workshop, and I can send you all the details and the payment options for that too. It's only $85 for the morning, and you get those great gifts to take home, so you can start working on your chakras straight away. So Tani, let's have a look. All right, who are we up to? Tani. Always down for more prosperity, aren't we all? Couldn't we all do a little bit of that? Petrol voucher? That'd be great too. All right, Tani, let's have a look. Oh, no, I'm going to go back down here. I was going to take that one, and then I was like, no. Okay, good news. Kinda. So this one here is rest and rejuvenate, and it's saying here you need to do both. No, not necessarily am I going to tell you have to go out to the forest and do meditation. If that's not how you rejuvenate, that's not how you have to. I know, Emily, the workshop's going to be so much fun. You're going to love it. Doing what you love. So for me, if I needed to rejuvenate, I'm not going to go out to the forest and do meditation. I do that for different reasons. But I'm going to do what I love. And that's going to be a day out at the thrift shop, or going for a drive, or, doing all the things that I love, because I'm going to rejuvenate. I'm going to fill those batteries. I love to get out and about on the weekend, because I know when I walk into my work on a Monday morning, and I start my readings for the week, I'm in that Zen place, and I'm in my intuition. So on weekends, I like to get out and rejuvenate. Now, I will give you a little bit of a warning with this card. Normally this card says, yes, it's time to take a holiday, to look after yourself. If you don't, quite often when we get run down the universe, if we're not taking the break, it will force us to have that break in some way, maybe making us, unwell, or bringing in something where it's like, oh, guess what? Work's shutting down for 2 weeks. Will we have to rejuvenate? But normally when I see this card, I am saying to people, okay, rejuvenate and rest, because some hard work is coming. But it doesn't mean that hard work is bad. Please don't think that needs to be, heartache and loss with that. It could be that, there's a new job opportunity coming, or we're going to be moving house, or we're going to be doing something. And it's time now, though, to rest and rejuvenate, look after yourself, and be kind to you. It's almost like hitting the reset button. Getting back to feeling good, getting some good sleep, because we're going to have some activity coming, and going to need it. Hello, Angela. Oh, thanks for jumping on board and saying g'day. That's all right. You can always go back and watch the replay and watch that first bit where I was talking about how to develop your intuition, because I know you'd be great at that as well. Who are we up to now? Is this Margaret that I've got? Yes, Margaret. Let's have a look. I've just seen a Bree 445 pop in. I do turn cards tonight, obviously. That's what I'm doing now. And I might pop you down as our last one for tonight, because we've got Margaret, we've got Katie, and then I'll do Bree. And then I'm going to do a general card for everybody to take us into the rest of this week and the weekend. So, Margaret, let's have a look. Margaret, just quickly then, I was just like, I don't know if you need to watch your teeth or you're going to have a problem with your teeth, or maybe it's some like ulcers in the mouth, but just really kind of drawn to the mouth and maybe the jaw. So just watching that too. Hello, Maria from New Zealand. Doing a reading for a lady in New Zealand tomorrow. Okay, Margaret, let's get serious a little bit. This one here is the solar plexus chakra. Now, this is a number 3, so we've got some new things coming in. But Margaret, this is a really good time to focus on the digestive system, making sure that we're looking after ourselves. It's about our confidence and our self-esteem. It's about our courage. It's about our ego. It's about our gut instinct. And it's telling me right now that even though that's all going to come into balance for you, you're going to maybe need that over the next couple of weeks. So just making sure that you're listening to that gut instinct, doing all those things, protecting yourself. If you have a citrine, the crystal citrine, fantastic for the solar plexus, also related to the sun. But just here, just watching that. So if you have had some problems with the digestive system, those starting to clear up, but also that confidence kind of coming back, our willpower, our get up and go. But that solar plexus for you, maybe needing to lean on it a little bit and for it to balance out, but it could bring something new in for you. So I like that, but do watch that area. It may need a little bit of balance. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, okay, James. Also mentioned, ask if salt lamps are classified as crystals. Yes, I think so, because look at how we work with Himalayan salt lamps. When we plug them in, obviously we have the lamp going, they heat up and they're going to give out negative ions and help clear the air, but also working with negativity. I think we use salt to protect ourselves and to protect our homes and used in ritual. So are they a crystal? To me, they are. They're a mineral that comes from the earth. So yes, we can use them. I actually had a pink salt crystal somewhere. I will try and maybe get it out. I don't have it on my bookshelf. It was beautiful to work with. But again, anything like that, we need to be careful about moisture because it is going to dissolve. We know if our salt lamps are off for a period of time, they just suck the moisture out of the air and you'll get that puddle on the table. But yes, I think salt lamps are, because they do affect our energies and how we feel, so you can work with them. Highlight Seeker. Okay, so we're up to Katie. Let's have a look, and then I'm going to turn a card for Bree 445, and then one for everybody. And don't forget, like I mentioned before, if you have questions, what crystal can I use for this? How can I feel more confident about work? Oh, you're welcome, Margaret. Yes. Just watch this draw of teeth. Not sure why, or maybe that's part of this, but yeah. Good things to come. It's a good positive card, but just having that courage to maybe sometimes step into it. Sorry, Katie. Oh, yeah, like I was saying, if you do have a question about what crystal can I use for this, or a metaphysical question about something, please just email me, or a topic you'd like to cover on one of the Tuesday night shows, askravencooper@gmail.com. Or you can message me also through the Threefold Facebook page, or if you leave a comment on the YouTube, I will also see that there. All right, Katie, let's have a look. Katie, I'm going to go right down here. I like this card. We're not doing too bad tonight, but this is my harmony card. Okay, it's a bit like my fairy tale card. Okay, we've got these fairy lights here coming over here. And what this is about is kind of, when we talk about fairy tales, and you hear me mention this quite often, 85% of the story is really shit. There's a lot of heartache and a lot of stuff going on, and, this knight in shining armor that's going to come in and save the day. But the realistic side of that fairy tale is, Cinderella had to get herself to the ball. She had to create a carriage out of a pumpkin. She had to find some mice to help make her a dress. She had to get all this shit sorted. And then she got herself to the ball, out of the castle, and then the happily ever kind of turned up. So this card's kind of saying to you here, my God, goodness, do you have a story to tell? You have been through a lot. But is this card asking you to keep the faith in the happily ever after, or the happy ending here? Will we get what we really, can bring us peace and harmony? Yes. Yes, but sometimes in most fairy tales, the princess goes out and finds her prince, or finds her happiness, or finds her freedom. Rapunzel had to grow her hair how long? Sleeping Beauty kissed without her consent. Snow White, her job was hard, man, witches and apples and stuff going on. And this is what it's saying here. It's almost like you're going to have this incredibly, interesting and at times incredibly difficult story to tell about your world, but still keep the faith that can you have that happily ever after ending? Yes, you can. And that's why I love that card, because it says it is coming, but we have had to go through that turmoil to get there. One more card for Bree 445, and then I'm going to call. Then I'm going to turn a card for everybody, a general card to get us through our week and into next week. Okay, this one is for Bree 445. I'm going to go up here. Whoa, this is the second time he's popped up tonight. Here is my temptation card. So just being very careful of the devil on your shoulders. Like I mentioned earlier, this one can be about our anxiety. It can be about going back to old ways, old relationship, going back to old things. He's like, oh, I'm going to go back to that old habit or that old way, or I'm going to let that devil on my shoulder, that weakness that I have, control my decision, when really we need to move forward and maybe not dance with the devil. So just be careful at the moment that you're not giving in to temptation. All right, let's look at a card for the week for everybody. Thanks for coming along tonight, guys. Oh, where are my words? Thank you for joining in. I love my Tuesday nights. I love seeing everybody here. Oh, Katie, it's a beautiful card. Blessed to be able to turn it for you. It's so good. All right, everyone. Let's all focus on we're going to get a really good freaking card, and we're going to have a really good week. Let's have a look. Okay. General message for everyone. What's the universe want to let us know? Oh, down here. Oh, well, it was the first card that jumped out of the deck tonight. It was my example card. I went, look at this, and here it is again. Here is the balance card. It's determined to see us tonight. And this is all about rising above our problems, being able to move forward. He does cover all of the elements here. So, across life, balance isn't about, just having a lot of money. It's about being happy too, or it's not about, how can I explain it? It's about balance. Work and play has to be even. We can't just be out having a great time, but then not paying our bills. We have responsibility. It's about finding balance and rising above things. Sometimes we're really caught down in things. They're kind of weighing us down, little things that are maybe out of our control or we don't need to be thinking about now. Archangel Michael here as well. We can rely on him, maybe asking him to help you out. We do have to ask those angels. They need our free will to be able to assist us. Number 11 here as well. But also Archangel Michael, if you're asking him to come in, we mentioned that with our dreams and using him as sort of like as that gatekeeper for our dreams. He's going to have his sword to protect us, and he's going to his shield to protect us, and his sword to cut cords. And the reason I just mucked up then is I was just remembering that last week, I think it was on the midday for some reason I managed to catch the TV, and I thought, oh my goodness, a midday movie. I've not seen one of these in a gazillion years. And it was Michael, the movie with John Travolta. It is so good. I love that movie. And that's definitely how I see Archangel Michael when I'm working with him. But it's about balance this week, everyone. So we're going to give ourselves some balance. Good food, good rest. Try and look at our stress levels, looking after ourselves. Okay, you can't do enough of that. Look after yourself, and then you can look after other people and everything else. But finding balance this week, listen to those heart whispers. Do one thing, every day that you love, whether it's just a cup of tea, writing in your journal, watching the sunset. It doesn't have to be something big. It's just about doing those little things that help bring balance into our worlds. All right, I've had a great week. Yeah, need more balance. Thanks, Emily. You have the best energy. You all have so much amazing energy. I know you're all so grateful so much in the comments for me. But honestly, when I log this off and I'm always in the best mood because, you guys give me so much energy and make me feel good. And I learn things from the messages and what's going on in people's words and the cards. I'm like, yeah, I need balance. I'm, running around here doing that, but really not looking after this. And that's not good for anyone who is suffering with, your mental health or anxiety and depression. We really need that balance in our worlds. So remembering, you can always go back and watch again the beginning of the video with some of those tips and tricks to be able to promise it's just tea. It's not tequila. It's just tea. Hard tea? No, it's just tea. To be able to develop that intuition so that we can move forward. I will be posting up what the next subject is for next week. But if there is something that you wanted to cover, please let me know. I'm always happy to have a look at those suggestions and keep chatting. Look after yourselves. Stay safe. Be good, be kind, be careful. Have a great night. Have good dreams. Find your amethyst, maybe program it, let it know that it's time for some good dreams. And you all look after yourselves. I'm going to hit this button and unfortunately I'm going to disappear, but only until next Tuesday. So I will see you then at